Welcome,
Yep.
Bastian, to Metaladium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Soilwork, this new album, Overgiven Hidden, and more things related to the, well, to the metal world. Starting with a common question: how have you been during these crazy times? First, we started in a pandemic, now a war in Europe. Who knows what happened next couple of years? Alien invasion, the machines takes the power. So no, we are living a crazy time now.
Yeah, thank you for having me. First of all, yeah, crazy times indeed, and we recorded during the pandemic, which was challenging at times since we live in different countries and it was harder to travel. So we had to be a little bit creative at times. And I think, yeah, we all had to find our new way in existing during the pandemic. It was obviously something that we never tried before, any of us. And now, yeah, the craziness just continues with, yeah, war and everything. And yeah, we hope that everything will sort of go back to normal. And yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, so this new album, Overgiven Hidden, was composed during the pandemic, or was it the continue for the Vergliedlichkeiten from the last album, 2019?
We actually, after Vergliedlichkeiten, we continued to write new music, actually, which eventually became the EP, which was The Atlantic. Mm-hmm. And even songs from those sessions became the new album. So actually, ever since Vergliedlichkeiten, we just continued writing new songs. So it has been sort of like a continuous process, so to speak. But yeah, most of the album was done during the pandemic. Yeah, so we had a lot of time to reflect on the songs and to listen back and decide what works and what doesn't work, and then go into the studio again with a new, fresh perspective.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you entered the band in 2017 with to the Soilwork to replace the seat from I don't remember from Dirk Veronen.
Yeah.
From Dirk Veronen. So last album. So how have you been the road since the beginning to now into the Soilwork? Because you play in Down the Demise, in other bands in Europe.
Yeah. I mean, it has been very challenging. Dirk is not an easy drummer to replace, but yeah, right from the beginning it was a lot of touring, since I was just filling in for him in the beginning, and then yeah, things looked like he would stay in Megadeth, so I stayed in Soilwork. And then we went into the studio and recorded the new album, which was also very challenging for me to find my way in all of that. And I would say with time I'm very much more relaxed in my role in the band, because I still feel that there is something to prove, but I rest a little bit more in myself now, and have faith that I do my best.
Okay. So how do you do when the band will touring will enter at the next couple of months or years in a new tour? The band asked you about to play the old songs when the Dirk Veronen wasn't there. So how do you the preparation to do the Dirk Veronen parts in Alive?
Well, it was quite interesting for me to go back to like learn the very old songs, because there's such a large back catalog for Soilwork. And I think I learned about the band like around studying the drama. That was sort of my generation, I guess. So it has been really interesting to go back and learn the older songs. And my process in doing that is that I try to pay as much respect as possible to the original tracks, but also I know Dirk. He was quite he did a lot of improvising live in some songs, so I try to do that as well. But yeah, like the grooves and the important fills and stuff like that, I try to reproduce those live, so I don't mess up something important.
Okay. No, you said that the Dirk Veralden taps or drums are in some point are difficult in some songs, but you entered to the Soilwork, a great band from Sweden. So is it possible to put your touch or your method drummers into this into these new two albums and go beyond the sound achieved and the usually Soilwork sounds, but with your elements into the drums?
Yeah. I think so, because I mean, for both the Verklighets and the new album, Övergivenheten, I had a lot of freedom to come up with drum parts. And usually the way it works when writing new songs is that mainly Björn and David, who writes most of the songs, they would send me like a very stripped down version of the song. And then I'll have a few words with them, like if they imagine the song to go in like a more extreme direction, or if it's like a heavy song, and then I try to work along those lines, and I have a lot of creative freedom to come up with the ideas, and I try, especially on Verkligheten, since it was the first album for me, I really try to honor the drum legacy of Soilwork, because it is very unique, I think. And at the same time, I'm also very aware that I'm a completely different drummer than Dirk, and I think he has much more extreme elements than I have. I'm probably more rock and roll in my drumming, so it has been really fun to sort of like find that new balance in the band between more classic rock elements and also extreme stuff, because there are a lot of extreme drumming in some of the songs.
Okay. So, but it's curious thing that you said that you are not an extreme metal drummer, because your other band, Dawn of the Mice, is more death metal straight with modern elements, a lot of Black Beast there. So it's more brute, it's more raw compared to the Soilwork, more melodic, this kind of stuff. So what do you think? So what do you think like that? So because Dirk is, for me, is more technique, this kind of stuff. But when I hear your drum into Down of the Mice, into the Ark and the Order, and these new both albums from Soilwork, your technique is more raw, so more brute. So you are more brutal death metal drummer than the Dirk. Dirk is more technical than brutal, because you're kind of when you hit the drums, it's more consistent than the Dirk in your drums, in the drums.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I think those three bands, they are quite different, and just as you say, the Arcane Order and Dawn of the Mice is more extreme, but I think still those two bands are, I mean, there are a lot of blast beats and fast double bass and all that, but it's more like normal fast, if you can say that. Whereas Dirk, some of the parts he wrote for some of the Soilwork songs it's fast, but it's like extremely fast. So I really have to work on those songs. And the challenge for me is that most of the songs in Soilwork is rather like mid-tempo. So you use a lot of power playing those, and then you have to like switch gears so fast when there is a fast song, because then it's extremely fast. Whereas my other bands, it's more like in the same level all the time. So I would say it's actually easier for me to play a show with Dawn of the Mice than Soilwork, because then I warm up to play fast, and then I do that every song pretty much.
Well, Okay, okay. So okay. Now what you said that the band now is letting you to into the writing process of these both albums. So how do you how is it in your influence got into these both albums? You have perhaps Sven, perhaps Silvan, or perhaps David send you the whether the demos through the internet and plus hey Bastian, hear this music and put your drummers, or perhaps they send you as with a demo with the easy drummer with some drumming program. So how was the conception of the drum part into this in both albums?
I mean, for David, the songs he writes, he usually send me stuff all the time, and I'll come up with some drum parts, and then we have a communication going back and forth until we go into the studio and record. So that's quite web-based, I guess you can say. And whereas Björn, he likes to, especially for the new album, he wrote all his songs in the studio. So that was complete new process for me because he would then send me the demo in the evening, and then I would sit with my. I use a lot of notation when I write drum parts. So I like a combination of notating my ideas and jamming in the drum room, and then the next day I would go to Björn and say, "Let's listen to this," and is this what we're going to record? So so that was challenging in a new way, I think, because and also I really appreciated it having such a fresh perspective on the songs, whereas David's, that's also a process that works very well for me, because I like to be prepared for the studio, but it was a great mix.
Okay, okay. Talking about the songs of this new album and the aspect that you said, some songs of the old stuff from Soilwork are challenging. So for you, which are the best challenging song, or which are the most challenging songs into this new album to play live? And compared to and relating to this, with for you, what songs are most challenging from the past, from the Ride the Majestic, from the number five, etc., etc.?
I think for the new, we still have to try that out, because we at this point we only played two of the new songs live, and yeah, it's always interesting with the new album to see what songs works live, and I think this album is more in my comfort zone. To be honest, I know there are some really intense songs on there as well. That's gonna take a lot of practice to relearn, because it's so a long time since we recorded them. But for me, with all the songs pretty much being mid tempo, it's the switch in gears from going mid tempo to really fast that can be a struggle for me. But that's something I'm working on. And I think like the challenging song from the past, I know just when I started in the band, we played the song Late for the Kill, Early for the Slaughter quite a lot, and it's still not super comfort zone, but it's like within reach for me, so it's fun to play live. But it's a song that has everything drum wise, because it has like weird grooves, and it has a lot of thrash beats and blast beats and strange kick drum patterns. So it's sort of the song where you need to know it all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, okay. So now talking about your main influence and talking about the aspects of the influence of drummer style, what kind of influence do you have? Just metal, or perhaps jazz, more, as you said, more rock and roll? And which drummer along all your career brings you the sensation, bring that the amazing point of view when you see that, when you see him or her, when you see him say, hey, I want to play like him someday? So which drummer influenced you a lot, changed the point of view until now?
I think, I mean, there's so many to mention, but I think one drummer that is always that always amazes me is Gavin Harrison with Porcupine Tree and a lot of other projects. But he is sort of the drummer where you don't know how he figured all that out, because he has such a very natural feel and super complex style of drumming, but he managed to serve it to you in a way where you don't realize how complex it is. So it's like quite easy to listen to, but when you start to dive in, it's very hard to understand sometimes. So to me, that is super tasteful, and the ability to serve something to the listener that they don't realize how complex it is, and they just take it for the music it is. That's quite an accomplishment, I think. But influence. No, sorry.
No, continue.
No. It's just musical influences. I listen to a lot of other music than metal as well. Metal is usually when I go into the creative mode for songwriting, I think. But other than that, I like to listen to a lot of pop and rock, and I'm a big Toto fan, for instance.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, because when Dirk left the band I think I remember in 2016 or 17, I don't remember very well. So, but you entered to the band, and the band started a Latin American tour in the past year. So, how was the experience to play for the first time with Soilwork along with a long Latin American tour? Because I think you played in the last gig here with Soilwork. That is how was the experience to play? So Dirk left the band and you entered immediately to play with them and start on a tour. That's amazing accomplishment, because when I saw you in Lima, Peru, well, your music was amazing, the drumming style, all the band is great alive. So how was the preparation very fast to play this Latin American tour?
Yeah, it was a very intense period of time, because originally I was supposed to fill in for 5 shows. And then all of a sudden it became almost a world tour, and the South American tour was I think the first actual tour I did, and it was just insane, because the fans over there are so like crazy. They know all the songs and they know all the melodies, and they were just so appreciative. So it was very overwhelming for me to play those shows. And also, since it was the first, I played in a lot of projects before that, but I never really toured that much, and especially not outside of my own country. So it was very overwhelming for me, and also to be there with Soilwork, which I was a big fan of, and experience all that. So it was very emotional for me to go there, I would say.
Okay, you have two point of views, because you entered the band in 2017, as I said, but you have the point when you were as a fan from Soilwork until 2017. So you have the point of view as a fan, like the band, but now you are in the band. So how do you see the both point of view, outside of the band and inside of the band? How many things change? Or how many points of view change during the outside and the inside for you?
Yeah, I think I mean it's very strange, because I was a big fan of the band for many years, and it feels still a bit strange to me to actually be in the band and write music with the band, because I still have that sort of like a fan vibe towards the band. But I think coming in with an outside view, I think that was a good thing for the band, honestly, because I'm not saying that they were stuck in their ways, but they just did the band for so many years. So I think in every relationship, it's good to have someone from the outside coming in and ask some questions like, why are you guys doing it like this, and I did that a lot. Yeah, so but I also eventually took over more of Dirk's role, because he was like sort of managing the band. So yeah, maybe like 2 years or so after I joined, I asked the question, why don't we manage the whole thing ourselves? And so now some of us are doing that. So, and I think it has a lot to do with like the outside perspective and seeing things differently.
The curious thing about your entrance to the band in 2017 is from you, the band changed the name of the albums, because before you all in English, all albums were in English, but when you entered the band, they changed completely to play to name the band to the albums in Swedish. So Verkligheten, so Evergivenheten. So perhaps your entrance to the band changed completely so the lyrics matter. So perhaps you influenced the band to change completely the name of the album, because it's a very curious thing. You enter and the band changed completely the titles in English, and they put the whole albums in Swedish.
Yeah, I know that for Verkligheten, it was something they wanted that title for an album for quite some time. And I don't know if they discussed it previously before I came into the band, but I know that was something that was just lying there, and they wanted to do it eventually. And yeah, I guess since I'm also Scandinavian, I guess there's one more vote for a Swedish title. But we sort of like the Scandinavian titles, and there's some mystique to it. And even though it can be hard to pronounce some places, yeah, there is just some, I guess you can say, exotic vibe about
Okay.
it.
Okay, now talking about your personal stuff with other bands. So how do you find time to play? Because now with Soilwork you put a lot of effort to play a lot of gigs there, because it's a huge band in Europe. But at the same time you have both bands, Dawn of the Mice in the Arcane Orders. So how do you find to play with them and not to put at the second base the other bands?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Soilwork is the main thing. So I have a lot of yeah, locked periods for Soilwork, I guess you can say, and it has been difficult also with the Arcane Order and Dawn of the Mice. Everyone is in good spirits though, but it is challenging to figure out a schedule that works for everyone. And I also feel sometimes that both the Arcane Order and Dawn of the Mice suffered on my behalf, since I have obligations to Soilwork. But yeah, but we try to do what we can for live activities, and we still record with both bands. Arcane Order has a new album coming out, but yeah, it's a bit of a challenge scheduling everything.
Okay. So relating to this question, why do you think that the drummers, or especially the metal drummers over the world, are usually involved in 3, 4, 5, and more than 10 bands usually? So what I think is like a cliche, because as you can see, a lot of well-known drummers in Europe playing in more than 10 bands. So, and you now are playing with 3 bands. So why why this is like a trend? I don't know.
I think there are more things to it, because for one, I think being a drummer in this genre of music in particular, I think it takes something else. It takes a lot of dedication, and I'm sure it also does in other genres. But when you think about the capabilities metal drummers they have to have in most bands, it is a lot of hours to put in. So I think that mindset from getting there just to become a great drummer. I think that mindset also translates into, yeah, there would be no issue to have another band or a third band, because there's always a good work ethics with metal drummers. And also, I think in some territories, I guess it could be hard to find good metal drummers. I myself come from a very, very small town, so I was like not just the only drummer, just almost the only one playing metal. So
Okay.
it was just very difficult to find someone. It took me some years to find someone to play metal with.
Okay.
So yeah, I think there are more things to it.
Okay. We are very close to end this interview, Bastian. And what are the future plans that the band has for this new album? Perhaps new videos in common, perhaps a drum playthrough coming in YouTube channel, your YouTube channel. Who knows? Or perhaps European, North American, or who knows? Next year again, an Latin American tour.
Yeah, we have some stuff coming up. Right now, we're like playing the shows that were originally planned before COVID. So, and that was a less busy year for us when COVID struck. So we don't have that many shows this year, but we still have a few festivals to go, and then we go to Australia in November, and then we also have some announcements very soon, because we're gonna follow up the new album with a lot of touring. So next year is going to be busy, and I also hope that we will go back to Latin America.
Great.
I would love to do, and I'm sure the other guys would too.
Great. Well, Bastian, the sad times arrived at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one as I did.
Absolutely.
Or like me. And thank you very much for your time. You're an awesome guy. Congratulations for the new album. And perhaps you want to add something to Latin American fans and Metallerium followers.
Yeah, but thank you for having me. And yeah, we hope to make it back to Latin America. We are working on it, and yeah, I hope to see you soon. And I hope you like the new material when it gets out in full extent.